If this is your first cruise, here is something no one tells you. There are a lot of small things that can quietly make or break the experience. Not because they are complicated, but because everyone assumes you already know them. How the ship really works, how costs sneak up on you, how the wrong cabin choice can change the entire trip. When you do not know these things, the first day feels confusing. You spend money you did not plan to spend. And some people leave thinking their first cruise should have been more fun than it was. Welcome back to Quick Cruise Tips. In this video, I am sharing the things you need to know before your very first cruise so you can board confident, prepared, and actually enjoy it from day one. Let us get started. Because your first cruise should be a great memory, not a lesson learned the hard way. Motion sickness? I know people who almost canceled their cruise over this one fear: getting seasick. A lot of first-time cruisers imagine non-stop rocking, feeling nauseous, and wasting the whole trip stuck in their cabin. That fear alone stops many people from even booking their first cruise. This is the part almost no one expects. Modern cruise ships are extremely stable. They are built with powerful stabilizers, and on routes like the Caribbean, the ocean is usually calm. Most of the time, you barely feel movement at all. In fact, many first-timers tell me they kept waiting for the rocking to start, and it never did. Can seasickness happen? Yes, but it is far less common than people expect. My advice is simple. Bring motion sickness meds or bands just in case. Not because you will need them, but because feeling prepared helps you relax on day one. And starting your first cruise.com instead of anxious makes a bigger difference than you think. Internet and Wi-Fi on cruise ships. One of the fastest ways first-time cruisers panic is realizing this too late. They still need the internet. I have seen people assume they will just figure it out on board. Then day one hits, they open the app, and suddenly every option costs more than expected. A lot of people still think cruise Wi-Fi is slow, unreliable, or basically unusable. That used to be true, but things have changed a lot in the last few years. On most modern ships today, basic Wi-Fi is actually decent. You can message family, check plans, browse the web, and stay connected without constant frustration. This is where people get caught off guard. Wi-Fi is usually not included. It is an extra cost, and faster plans for work or video calls cost even more. If you are cruising in places like the Caribbean, internet access is often better than people expect. Just do not assume it comes with your fare. My advice is simple. Decide before you board how connected you really need to be. That one decision can save you money and prevent surprises when you check your final bill. Food on a cruise: what is included and what is not. One of the biggest reasons people get excited about cruising is the food. And the biggest confusion happens right after. A lot of first-time cruisers walk on board thinking everything they can eat and drink is included. That is only half true. The good news first. Most of your meals are already covered. The buffet, the main dining room, casual spots during the day. You can eat very well without paying anything extra. That part surprises people in a good way. The surprise usually comes with drinks. Water, basic coffee, tea, and simple juices are often included. But things many people assume are free are not: soda, bottled water, specialty coffee, alcohol. That is when people start wondering why they keep signing receipts for drinks they did not think would cost extra. There is nothing wrong with ordering them. The mistake is not knowing ahead of time. Some people save money by sticking to what is included. Others are happier buying a drink package. Both are fine as long as you choose on purpose. When you understand what is included and what is not, you enjoy the food without stress, and you do not get surprised when you check your bill at the end of the cruise. The bathroom and that toilet sound? Almost every first-time cruiser reacts the same way. They flush the toilet, a loud suction sound kicks in, closer to an airplane than a hotel bathroom. Many people jump the first time it happens. The bathroom itself feels normal, just smaller. The toilet works differently because cruise ships use a vacuum system. That sound is expected. Nothing is broken. After the first day, it fades into the background. Without a warning, that first flush can still catch anyone off guard. It is a tiny detail, but details like this shape how smooth your first cruise feels. The casino on a cruise ship. During the day, the casino barely gets noticed. At night, it turns into one of the busiest spots on the ship. Most first-time cruisers walk past it early on without a second thought. Later that evening, they walk back and feel a completely different energy. On most cruise ships, the casino stays open late, sometimes well past midnight. Lights keep flashing, tables stay full. Time feels different inside that room. If casinos are your thing, one detail often gets missed. Signing up for the cruise line's casino program can lead to discounts and future offers. Frequent players sometimes see heavily reduced cruise rates later on. Here is the part that matters. The casino works best as entertainment, not as a place to chase losses or fix a bad night. Every charge goes straight to your onboard account, and it adds up quietly. If gambling is not your thing, the ship still comes alive at night. Shows, live music, lounges, and late-night spots offer plenty to enjoy without stepping into the casino. Understanding how the casino fits into the cruise helps you decide how much space it deserves, instead of letting it take over without you realizing it. Shopping on a cruise ship. Almost every cruiser says the same thing at least once. I am just going to look. Then they come back to the cabin carrying bags they never planned to buy. Cruise ship shopping feels harmless at first. You are already on board. You have time between activities. You walk in out of curiosity, not with the intention to spend money. That is when things quietly add up. Most ships have duty-free shops, jewelry, watches, logo merch, souvenirs, and pop-up sales that appear without much notice. Some items look like great deals. Others feel tempting because you cannot buy them anywhere else on the ship. Here is the real issue. Shopping on a cruise is not the problem. Shopping without a plan is. Every purchase goes straight to your onboard account. No cash moment, no pause, just a signature and you move on. That is why the final bill surprises people, even when nothing felt expensive at the time. Decide early what shopping means for this trip. Once that line is clear, shopping stays fun instead of turning into regret later. Boarding time matters more than you think. At the cruise port, everything can look calm. People stand there watching a ship slowly pull away. Then it clicks. They are not waving goodbye. They are watching their cruise leave without them. This happens more often than people expect. When your cruise lists a 5 o'clock departure, that is not arrival time. That is when the ship leaves the port. Every cruise line has a firm cutoff. Security shuts down. The gangway comes up. After that, no one gets on. I have watched people arrive thinking they were early. The ship was still right there. They still were not allowed on board. The safest move is arriving earlier than you think you need to. Boarding day is not the moment to trust timing or luck. Lines form, traffic slows. Security takes longer than planned. Arriving early changes the entire tone of the day. You start the cruise.com instead of rushed. Embarkation day and your luggage. Embarkation day catches a lot of first-time cruisers off guard. They open the cabin door and see an empty room. No suitcases, nothing. The first thought hits immediately. Did they lose my luggage? What is happening is simple. When you hand your bags to the porters at the terminal, they do not arrive at your cabin right away. They come later, sometimes late afternoon, sometimes early evening. This is completely normal. But without warning, the first day can feel frustrating. That is why a small carry-on bag matters. Pack what you will need right away. A change of clothes, swimsuit, medications, anything you do not want to wait hours for. People who expect the delay move on with their day. They explore the ship, they relax. They enjoy lunch without checking the hallway every 10 minutes. When luggage stops being a worry, embarkation day finally feels like the start of a vacation. Room service breakfast. Near the end of the cruise, a lot of people say the same thing. Wait, breakfast room service was included the whole time? And yes, it often is. Cruising works differently from hotels and resorts. On many cruise lines, breakfast room service is included even when room service later in the day costs extra. That means breakfast can come straight to your cabin without an added charge. This matters most on busy mornings. Port days, early excursions, Days when the buffet feels packed from wall to wall, sitting in your cabin with coffee instead of standing in line at 7 in the morning changes the entire tone of the day. Ordering can look different depending on the ship. Some use the app, some use the cabin TV, others still use the phone. Paper menus are not always there anymore. Many people miss this simply because they assume it costs extra, and that is a quiet loss on a cruise where mornings move fast. Storage space and the space under the bed. Most first-time cruisers overlook the simplest storage solution in the cabin: under the bed. Cruise cabins start to feel tight when suitcases sit everywhere. The floor disappears fast. The room suddenly feels smaller than it really is. That space under the bed is built for luggage. Slide your suitcases underneath, and the cabin opens up immediately. If a bag looks too tall, it usually still fits. Most cruise ship beds lift slightly and allow extra clearance. Even larger suitcases work more often than people expect. When the cabin feels organized, the whole cruise feels easier to enjoy. Small bills and cash. One small habit makes a cruise feel smoother from start to finish. Carrying small bills. They come in handy when tipping a porter, thanking a tour guide at a port, or buying something small off the ship without awkwardly breaking a big bill. On many cruise routes, US dollars are widely accepted. Smaller bills keep everyday moments quick and comfortable. It feels minor, but it removes a surprising amount of friction throughout the trip. Power outlets and charging devices. You plug in your phone, then look around for another outlet. Nothing else is available. Cruise cabins come with very limited power outlets. Some older ships do not even offer USB ports. Phones, watches, tablets all need charging, but the cabin was not designed for that many devices at once. A simple multi-port charger fixes this immediately. Just avoid surge protection, since most cruise lines do not allow it. Royal Caribbean is one exception and allows multi-port USB chargers. When everything charges at the same time, evenings feel calmer and mornings start smoother. Planning for disembarkation. The day your cruise ends does not feel like a vacation morning. It feels rushed. People are tired. Elevators are packed. Everyone wants off the ship at the same time. If you do not plan for this, the last day can be the most exhausting part of the trip. Most cruise lines give you two options. You can leave your luggage outside the cabin the night before and let the crew handle it. Or you can carry everything off yourself. Carrying your own bags sounds simple. In reality, it often means crowded elevators or dragging suitcases down staircases early in the morning. My honest take is this: let the crew handle your luggage unless you truly need to leave early. When you plan for disembarkation, the trip ends calmly instead of chaotically, and that is a much better way to remember your first cruise. What to wear on disembarkation day? The last morning falls apart fast when no outfit is ready. Many people pack everything the night before. Their luggage is gone. The cabin needs to be cleared. Then the realization hits. Nothing is left to wear. You end up seeing it all on disembarkation morning. Yesterday's clothes, wrinkled outfits, sometimes even sleepwear under a jacket. Setting aside one complete outfit the night before avoids all of that. Clothes, shoes, everything in one place. If it worked for the flight in, it works for the trip home. That single step keeps the final morning calm and clean. No scrambling, no stress. Just an easy exit from a great cruise. The muster drill. Every cruise requires one thing from every passenger. No exceptions. The muster drill. It is mandatory, whether this is your first cruise or your 10th. The ship cannot leave port until everyone completes it. Today, the process is much easier than it used to be. Most ships ask you to watch a short safety video in your cabin or on the app. After that, you check in at your assigned muster station so the crew can confirm you are accounted for. The whole thing takes only a few minutes. Skipping it, however, can delay the entire ship. Crew members will find you if you forget. Once the drill is done, everything shifts. People relax. Activities begin. The cruise finally feels underway. Taking care of this early makes the first day smoother and far less hectic. Spa and salon timing. The spa menu is where a lot of people pause. The prices. On sea days, Spa and salon appointments are usually the most expensive. That is when the ship is full and demand is high. Port days tell a different story. Fewer people on board often means better availability and better deals. Late afternoon slots also tend to be easier on the wallet and fit naturally before dinner. Picking the right time makes the spa feel like a treat instead of a regret. Elevators on a cruise ship. There are two moments when elevators feel impossible on a cruise. The first day, the last morning, people wait. They squeeze in, they get frustrated fast. Most elevators near the atrium are packed because everyone passes through that area. But if you walk a little farther toward the front or back of the ship, things change. Elevators there are usually quieter and move faster. This is not something you notice on day one. It is something you figure out after standing in line long enough. A short walk can save a lot of waiting, and that small shift makes the ship feel much easier to move around. Budgeting for extra costs. The end of the cruise often comes with a pause. People look at the screen a little longer. The final bill? Cruises include a lot, but not everything, and the extras stack up faster than most people expect. Daily gratuities usually show up first. Then, specialty dining, drink packages, Wi-Fi, spa visits, bingo, photos, and casino charges follow. Each one feels small at the time. Together, they add up quickly. None of this is a mistake. This is simply how cruising works. What makes the difference is deciding ahead of time where you want to spend. When the extras are planned, the bill feels expected instead of shocking. Your cruise card. One small item runs almost everything on a cruise. Lose it, and the whole day slows to a stop. Your cruise card opens your cabin, it pays for drinks and shopping, it checks you on and off the ship at every port. On a cruise, that card becomes your wallet, room key, and ID, all in one. Most people do not carry a purse or full wallet on board. That is why cruise cards disappear more often than expected. Pools, shows, bars, photo stations. One distracted moment is enough. Keeping it attached to you solves the problem. A lanyard? A clip? Anything secure and easy to reach? When the card stays with you, the day flows smoothly. When it does not, everything pauses until you replace it. A light jacket? You hear the same sentence on almost every cruise. I should have brought a light jacket. Even on warm itineraries, the ship itself can feel cold. Theaters, dining rooms, lounges, all run strong air conditioning. At night, open decks cool down fast, especially with wind. This has nothing to do with being sensitive to cold. It catches almost everyone at least once. A light jacket or cardigan takes up very little space, but when you need it, it changes the entire experience. It is one of those items you barely notice until the moment you really need it. The daily cruise planner. At some point on a cruise, someone always says this: "Wait, that was happening today?" That usually means the daily cruise planner never got checked. The planner shows where the ship is, what time things happen, and what is actually worth showing up for. Shows, activities, parties, talks, and small events that never get announced out loud. Depending on the cruise line, it lives on the ship app, the cabin TV, or a paper version. It takes only a few minutes to scan. Skipping it often means missing the best moments of the day. Checking it turns surprises into choices instead of regrets. Small items that make cabin life easier. There are a few small things that people only realize they needed after day one. Cruise cabins are compact. Every surface matters. Magnetic hooks are a quiet lifesaver. Most cabin walls are metal, which means you can hang jackets, hats, bags, or swimsuits without cluttering the room. Towel clips or bands matter more than you think. Pool decks get windy, and towels slide off chairs constantly. One small clip keeps everything in place. Magnetic clips are also useful. They hold the daily planner, excursion tickets, or important notes right where you can see them. None of these items are exciting, but together they make the cabin feel calmer and easier to live in every single day. Weather can change the itinerary. Sometimes an announcement comes over the speakers and you feel the mood shift. The itinerary is being adjusted, Out on the ocean, weather decides more than most people expect. Storms, strong winds, rough seas can reroute a ship or cancel a port completely. It can feel disappointing in the moment, but the reason is always safety. A ship at sea is far safer than being stuck on an island during bad weather. Captains do not gamble with conditions, no matter how good a port looks on paper. The cruisers who enjoy the trip most stay flexible. They adjust, they shift plans. They find new ways to enjoy the ship. Cruising is not only about where you stop, it is also about the journey in between. The cabin's safe. There's one thing in your cabin that people often ignore until they need it. The safe, passports, cash, credit cards, jewelry, medications. These are not things you want to think about while you are at a port or by the pool. The cabin safe is simple to use and very secure. Crew members cannot open it. Only ship management can, and only in special situations. Using it takes seconds. The peace of mind lasts all day. When valuables are locked away, you enjoy the ship more and worry less. Laundry on a cruise. Laundry service is available on most cruise ships. Many lines offer mid-cruise laundry specials, often priced by the bag. These deals usually appear halfway through the sailing and are easy to miss. If you are interested, ask your cabin attendant so you do not miss the timing. Laundry is most useful on longer cruises and helps you pack lighter from the start. Guest services and timing. Standing in line is the fastest way to lose patience on a cruise, and guest services is where that usually happens. The desk gets crowded on embarkation day and again on the last morning. Everyone has questions at the same time. Everything feels slower than it should. What helps is timing, not urgency. Guest services runs around the clock. Late evenings after the shows are over are usually quiet. Early mornings work just as well. Same staff, same answers, far less waiting. Choosing the right moment turns a frustrating task into a quick fix, and that keeps the day moving smoothly instead of stalling it. Cruise terms you will hear everywhere. The first time you hear directions on a cruise, they can sound confusing. People talk fast and use words you do not hear on land. On a ship, floors are called decks. Rooms are called cabins. The front is forward and the back is aft. Port means left and starboard means right. These words show up on signs, maps, and announcements all day. Once they click, moving around the ship suddenly feels easy. This is not about memorizing terms. It is about not feeling lost when someone gives directions. Understanding the language of the ship makes the whole experience feel more relaxed and familiar. Ship time and why it changes. Missing the ship by 1 hour is more common than people think. Cruise ships do not always follow local time. They follow ship time. On some itineraries, especially in the Caribbean, the ship may adjust its clock to match port schedules. This helps keep excursions and departures on track, but it can quietly confuse passengers who are not paying attention. Your phone might change automatically. The ship clock might not. That is how people show up late without realizing it. Keeping track of ship time matters more than local time when you are getting back on board. Even a small mismatch can turn into a very stressful moment at the pier. Staying synced with ship time keeps the day relaxed and the return effortless. Cruise traditions you will notice. Cruising has its own little culture, and you start seeing it everywhere once you look around. Cabin doors decorated with magnets and signs. Groups wearing matching shirts. Couples in coordinated outfits at dinner. Then there is the rubber duck game. People hide small ducks around the ship for others to find. It sounds silly until you see how much fun it adds to the day. These traditions are not planned by the cruise line. They come from the passengers. That is what makes them feel relaxed and welcoming. The only thing to keep in mind is simplicity. Decorations should be easy to replace and not expensive. Thousands of people pass by your door every day. Joining in is optional. Enjoying the atmosphere is not. These small traditions turn a ship full of strangers into something that feels like a shared experience. Not all ships feel the same. Choosing a cruise line is only half the decision. The ship itself matters just as much. Two ships from the same company can feel completely different. Older ships tend to feel quieter and more traditional. Newer ships usually bring more technology, bigger spaces, and a very different energy. This catches a lot of first-time cruisers off guard. They expect the brand to define the experience. In reality, the ship does. That is why reading reviews about the specific ship matters more than the logo on the funnel. Flying in the day before. Flights miss connections. Bags get delayed. Weather changes plans. Cruise ships do not wait. Arriving the day before gives you breathing room. You wake up close to the port instead of watching the clock. Traffic does not feel like a threat. A delay does not turn into a disaster. That extra night often feels unnecessary when you book. It feels priceless on embarkation morning. The cruise line app. By the second day, most people realize something. Everything important lives in the app. Menus, daily schedules, show times, messages with the people you are traveling with. Your spending balance in real time. The app is how the ship communicates with you now. Paper schedules are limited or gone on many cruises. Downloading it before you arrive matters more than people expect. Port Wi-Fi is crowded. Cell service can be unreliable. Once the app is set up, the cruise feels easier to manage. You stop guessing. You start choosing. Having the app ready puts the whole trip in your pocket. Before you leave the ship, the last morning moves fast. People think about flights, rides, and getting home. That is when small things get missed. Before you step off the ship, check your final bill carefully. Any mistake is easy to fix while you are still on board. Once you leave, it becomes much harder. Then look at your photos. If you bought any onboard pictures, download them or make sure you have access before you go. After disembarkation, those memories are often gone for good. Taking a few minutes to do this closes the cruise cleanly. No loose ends, no regrets. It is the difference between ending the trip rushed and ending it right. Your first cruise should feel easy, not confusing, not stressful. Most cruise mistakes are small. They only feel big because no one warned you. If this video helped, keep it in mind when you step on board. And if you have cruised before, share one thing you wish you knew sooner. Cruising is better when you feel prepared. That is when it turns into a memory, not a lesson. Happy cruising!